patriarchal dominance is something that's often questioned. And at least coming from Indian things, whatever we see in our family, there's often an inherent bias that that's how the things should be done. But I think we often don't get to question whether it's right or wrong, or what is the actual things, and ultimately we boil it down to a question of freedom of choice, where whoever is doing it will do it if they want to do it. So how do when these things come up with, so, and when we try to understand us through our scriptures, I don't think these are often defined right, like how patriarchal society needs to be handled, how patriarchal society is good or bad, or and all those things are often inherent assumptions around these subjects, at least in my point of view. So when people come up with these things, how do we
how do we answer?
Not answer, but how do we reason it for ourselves?
How do we resonate? How do we get some kind of equilibrium inside us, like whether this is right or not, or
like someone who wants to say that something like cooking, like when women say that men and women should cook equally, it's not like we're also working, we have our time and all these things. But if we see, at least in my household, I've seen my mother cook regularly, my grandmom cook regularly, my great grandmom cook regularly. So often there may be inherent bias that only when women cook it will be better, or things. And something like taking care of children too. There's also an inherent bias that only mothers will be able to do well in such things too. But often these kinds of things are often questioned and all these things. So in the light of
gender equality, or what did you say? Patriarch. Patriarchic society, whatever.
Patriarchal.
Patriarchal. Okay. Patriarchal society. This kind of lot of such things are there. There could be caste
identifying with your own gender.
Identifying with your gender. LGBTQ or whatever, I mean, who I am, and those kind of things are all there. Actually, all these things are answered in Bhagavad Gita. These things are, in a very nice way, it is answered. Or you can even add global warming, you can add even other problems which are there, and then there are some people who have some strong opinions, this should be done this way, that way, and they find out some reasons, they go to some root cause analysis. Everything is answered in Bhagavad Gita in a very nice way. And often people say that, especially people from India, they say that we all know about Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita talks about karma karo, phala prapti vyasa. That's all they say, right? Bhagavad Gita has got that one verse which they know, which they don't know it also fully. That is what is their understanding of karma yoga. But actually that is not karma yoga. And that thing is very nicely explained in Bhagavad Gita. So let us see if we can take some, because this is a good trigger to start some discussion. Any chapter, which chapter talks about karma yoga?
I think the initial chapters.
Okay, which one? PhD, postdoc?
No.
Please, participate, come on, you have to know this. Which chapter? At least the chapter name. The name of the chapter itself says karma yoga. Third chapter. Third chapter talks about karma yoga. Very interestingly, sometimes we think we know a lot, but we don't go into the depths of things which are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So we remain on the surface. So we miss out on a lot of things. Very interestingly, what is the definition of karma yoga? Anybody knows how many verses are there in third chapter? Just a random guess. You don't need to tell the exact one, but random guess. 55? Random guess.
35.
35, okay. कुछ मिला notes वोट्स से कहीं से?
नहीं 108 उपनिषद लिखा हुआ है
108 Upanishads. नहीं नहीं, ये चैप्टर का एक चैप्टर में कितना वर्स है? You want to guess? 10.
It's her favorite number. Anything 10.
That's your favorite number?
My favorite number is 0.
0. Okay. Certainly it is not 0 because it's a chapter, so it has some verses.
Yeah, but it's my favorite number.
That's your favorite number. But 10 is on the lower side.
Yeah.
Actually, the lowest chapter has got 20 verses.
Yeah,
And that is 12
chapter
and 15.
12 and 15
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, anyway, chapter 3 has got 43 verses. Imagine if Krishna is going to speak about 43 verses and he is defining Karma Yoga, he will be explaining it very nicely. He will be talking some core principles. So we have to understand what Karma Yoga is and how that Karma Yoga, when people are talking about, where all these things are falling in. So what we will do is, okay, anybody knows what is the chapter before this? What is the title of that chapter? Chapter 2.
Transcendence of consciousness. Transcendental consciousness.
Transcendental consciousness? No.
याद नहीं है.
याद नहीं है. Prayavata, try करो.
पढ़ तो रहे थे. I was
Reading chapter
in my notes it says chapter 2 summarizes all
Good one, very good. At least note में तो है. कम से कम वो note से वो memory में जाने में कब होगा पता नहीं. Note में correct लिखा है. Chapter 2 is called Contents of Gita Summarized. So, Contents of Gita Summarized. And it has got 72 verses. I'm not asking you. So 72 verses are there. There is a Acharya who comes in the Sri Vaishnava line who says that every human being should read Bhagavad Gita. Doesn't matter what is his origin, where is he coming from, they should read Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. We will have some question answer after this. Pay attention. And if you are not able to read 18 chapters, at least read chapter 2, which is Contents of Gita Summarized, because it has got the entire Bhagavad Gita in it. So when Krishna is talking about second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there is something which is very profound about Bhagavad Gita second chapter, which he reveals. And if we get that one thing, it will make a tons of sense in our life. So if you go to chapter 2, because I have to come to this Karma Yoga, I have to give you some context, some background, then you can appreciate what Krishna is explaining in chapter 3. So chapter 2, there is a very beautiful concept. Okay, even before we go to chapter 2, you know what is okay, let me ask you this question. What does the Veda talk about? What are the topics or what are the contents of Vedas? What is the Veda talking about? What exactly Vedas are talking about? क्या बोल रहे हैं? इतना आप क्लास आ रहे हैं क्या कुछ बोलिए? क्या वेदास क्या बोल रहे हैं? कुछ तो बोलिए. क्या बता रहा है वेदास?
Vedic nectar of all the 5,000-year-old.
That's all true. But what is the content? क्या है उसमें?
no
How to lead life.
How to lead life? Give more explanation as to what. What are the major these things in Vedas? What is it that is the Vedas are talking? You have to explain it. Let's say if you have to explain it to Shivani, you go back and then you have to make her sit and say what you heard today, what you read today. So you can ask these questions as triggers. So these are all very important things to know, because when we are trying to Gita Upanishad is one of the Upanishads which is part of the entire Vedic literature. So what is it that the Vedas are talking about? 108 Upanishads लिखा है, Vedas में है क्या? क्या है? कुछ तो सोचो.
Veda is the knowledge.
Veda is knowledge. Okay, it comes from Ved Dhatu, which means to know or knowledge. Okay, what is the knowledge? What is it that Vedas talk about?
Answer, who am I?
It answers who am I. Okay, that is true. That is not the only thing that Vedas are talking about. If I say, let's say, mechanical engineering, third year is talking about these subjects. So I'm able to summarize. I'm studying, let's say, theory of machine, I'm studying IC engine, I'm studying strength of materials, like that 3-4 subjects are there. This is what is the subject matter of third year mechanical engineering. I'm asking, what is the subject matter of Vedas? How to cultivate devotion. That is there, but that is very, very small. Very small. Then what else is there in the Vedas? Okay.
Karma Kanda, Gnana Kanda.
So very interestingly, the Vedas, what the Vedas are talking about, majority of the Vedas, they talk about these two things. One is called, so remember this always, attached engagement. Attached engagement. And there is this detached disengagement. Attached engagement is the path of karma kanda. Detached disengagement is the path of jnana. So the majority of the Vedas are talking about this. What is attached engagement? Means you want to enjoy your life, you want to somehow do the right things, you are inclined and you are very attached to living in this material world. At the same time, the enjoyment that you want to experience, you want to do it in the right way, so that you don't get implicated. And Vedas say, you do this sacrifice, you worship this god, you worship that demigod, you do these things, and by the worship or by performing those sacrifices, you will get the blessings. With those blessings, you can engage, or you can do your action, and you'll be happy. This is what is the majority of the Vedas, Vedic literatures are talking about. Then there is detached. This is about 90%. 90% of the Vedas are talking about this. About 9% of the Vedas are talking about the path of jnana. Okay, detached disengagement. This is not 10, not your the guess that you had. It's 9. So detached disengagement, where somebody knows that this is all temporary, and they develop a kind of renunciation. This is all not good, not true, not right. They're all false, neti, and I have to develop a detachment for this. Very difficult. This is the path of jnana. But there is just 1%. That 1% path is something which Krishna reveals in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and that path is called detached engagement, where you are doing your actions, you are remaining in this material world, but you have a sense of detachment inside your heart. It's a very powerful thing. The word that Krishna uses, there is a verse in 2.39. It says, Esham te abhita sankhya buddhi yogam to imam shunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. Now I am going to talk to you, having spoken about this jnana and karma, I am going to talk about buddhi yoga. Which yoga?
Buddhi
Yoga.
yoga.
What is buddhi yoga? What does it mean? So we will come to that karma yoga, but you have to understand first this. So buddhi yoga is actually, if you translate in our colloquial terminology, it will be smart yoga. What yoga? Smart yoga. So everybody wants to be smart in life. So many kinds of. This is a very good proposition. You don't have to go to material. You don't have to go to a forest. You don't have to, detach and renounce the whole thing. You can do your actions, staying in your own place, but you can remain detached, and yet you will get the same destination as this detached disengagement people are going to get it. So it's a very wonderful proposition. So how does that work? How does it happen? So 2.47, 48 and 49, these 3 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Your books, how many books are there? At least one concept, let's get it clear, this question that he has asked. Because it will bring a lot of tons of clarity in our thinking. So one line, one you can have, one we will have here in this line. So you have to read the translation of 47 loudly. Then you have to read 48. You read 49. These three verses we will read.
What's the translation?
Only the translation. Loudly.
Chapter 2, text 47.
Mhm.
You have a right to perform your prescribed duty.
One second. Right to perform your
Prescribed duty,
perform your prescribed duty,
but you are not entitled to the fruits of action.
Fruits of action.
so this is allowed. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to fruits of your action. Okay?
Never consider yourself to be the cause of the result of your activities,
Never consider yourself to the cause of your activities,
cause of the results of your activities,
cause of result of your activities,
and never be attached to not doing your duty.
never consider yourself to the cause of result of your activities, and never attach to
Not doing your duty.
Yeah. No, don't attach to not doing your duty. Okay. Read the 48th one.
Be steadfast in yoga.
Be steadfast in.
Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
O Arjun, perform your duty
Mm-hmm.
and abandon all attachment to success or failures.
So same thing, perform your duty, one more time, prescribed duty, and abandon all results of your attachment and abandon all
To
results.
success or failure.
Abandon, so again saying, fruits of your action, whether it is
Such,
success or failure.
such evenness of mind is called yoga.
Yeah, so that is called samatvam yoga uchyate, the equanimity. When we have that balance, that state of balance is called yoga. Okay, the next one. He has a book.
Thank you.
O Dhananjaya, get rid yourself of all fruitive activities by devotional service and surrender fully to that consciousness. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers.
ये दे दो।
तो लाउडली बोला था, थोड़ा स्लो हो गया. 49 और एक बार.
O Dhananjaya,
O Dhananjaya,
rid yourself
rid yourself
of
Hmm.
all
fruitive
fruitive activities
Hmm.
by devotional service
by devotional service and
and surrender fully to that consciousness.
there is a consciousness.
Yeah.
Surrender plus
Surrender fully to that consciousness.
surrender fully to that consciousness.
Those, full stop, those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers.
Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work
Are misers.
are misers. Okay. So if you see, if this is the definition of Buddhi Yoga which the Lord is giving, very powerful. The verse is 2.47, right? What is the verse? Karmanya vadhikaraste mahaphalesu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangosto. First thing is, be attached to doing your prescribed duties. Don't get attached to the fruits of your action. You are not the cause of the result of your action, and at the same time, don't get attached to not doing your action. And the fourth one, don't get attached to not doing your action is a very important thing. Because the moment when you see what is giving us pleasure or what is giving us that joy is when I know that, suppose I am doing this work, okay, I am working for a company. At the end of that, I will get money, and that money I am going to enjoy for myself, or I am going to watch a movie. The reason why I am going to watch that movie is because that movie is going to give me some enjoyment. That is the whole goal why I am going to watch that movie. But if somebody says you do your work, just go and watch the movie, but don't expect that you will get an enjoyment or something out of it. Just go and watch, just as an example. Or if I tell you just work, don't worry about whether you are going to get success or failure. It looks very counterproductive, right? It looks like, kya hai? So what is the motivation for me to do work? Right? The motivation to do work is not coming clearly, because when Krishna is telling you are only doing your prescribed duty, but you should not be attached to your fruits of your action. You are not the cause of results of your action, and you should not, so then you feel like, okay, then I should not do anything better. No, but you cannot be attached to not doing anything. You have to work. And then he's telling that you have to do it with a devotional service and surrender fully to that consciousness. And this is a very important thing, very interesting thing. You see how to practice this detached engagement, where you are detached inside, but at the same time you are doing action. Now to understand this, what you have to understand is, if I have to put this whole thing, Buddhi Yoga, in an equation form, this is the equation of Buddhi Yoga. It's a very interesting equation, you should remember this. And this one concept is elaborated in the Bhagavad Gita completely. Just this one concept. There is not much, but this is one thing which, if you get it right, then you will have so much of clarity. Buddhi Yoga is actually performing action or karma or action. So you have to work, you have to do your activity, but this karma or action is performed on the platform of, there's a solid platform on which you have to perform your activity, and that platform is jnana. It is not whimsically done. There is the transcendental knowledge, that is the platform on which you have to do. But very interestingly, Buddhi Yoga doesn't end there. While doing this action, you need to have, in the comic strips, you will have some bubbles and then there will be a thought which is coming. So your emotions or your consciousness should be having devotion to the Lord. If this one concept you get it right, if you understand this one thing, then this is actually the practical application of how to work, but at the same time remain detached inside. So you have to work, you have to perform your action, but that action has to be performed on the platform of jnana, and that while performing this action on the platform of jnana, that is not enough. You need to have the sense of devotion, you need to have the feeling, you need to have the connection with the Lord. Now what happens is, this is second chapter, this is what is called the contents of Gita summarized. Krishna goes on to talk about this karma yoga or action in the third chapter. Okay? He talks about jnana or transcendental knowledge in the fourth chapter. In the fifth chapter, he talks about how to perform karma in the platform of jnana or karma sannyas yoga. And then in the sixth chapter, he is talking about dhyana, or how to link our consciousness or our thoughts to Krishna. That is in the sixth chapter. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all is talking about bhakti. Again in the 13th chapter, he is coming back to jnana. He is talking about material nature and how this knowledge about this material world around us is coming back to jnana. 14th chapter is again talking about jnana. He is talking about material nature. 15, 16, 17 is also same, and then 18th chapter is a summary of this Buddhi Yoga. Again Krishna re-illustrates this.
And 16 is bhakti.
16 is divine and demoniac nature. It talks, bhakti is just from 7th to 12th. This is all the 13th to 17th is all about jnana, different aspects of jnana. And then summary again comes in the 18th chapter. This is what it is.
Last.
Yeah, so what happened was, that's why second chapter is called Contents of Gita Summarized. Entire Gita Krishna summarized there in that. The entire knowledge was given. But in the third chapter, which we were talking about, Arjuna got confused. He said, you spoke about something called Sakama Yoga and you spoke about Buddhi Yoga, right? But I am confused. I am not able to understand what is the difference between these two. Because Arjuna, when Krishna from 31st to 38th verse, he was talking about, as a Kshatriya you should fight. When you fight and you die in the war, you have nothing to lose because you will get heavenly kingdom. If you win, then you will get the kingdom. You will actually become victorious, you will get the kingdom. It is not a lose-lose situation, it is a win-win situation. Whether you die or whether you become victorious, anyway, one side you are getting heavenly kingdom, the other side you are getting your own kingdom. So it's a good thing, good proposition. So Arjuna thought, Krishna has told about that to me, and now he's talking about Buddhi Yoga. So he's telling, when you have spoken about Buddhi Yoga, why again you are asking me to engage in ghastly warfare? Because ultimately, whether I am winning or losing, it is a ghastly thing, because there is a lot of bloodshed, there will be a lot of destruction. So why are you asking me to engage in this? That is where Krishna begins to speak about Karma Yoga. It's a very important thing. If you know the concept and if you see, actually to appreciate Arjuna's doubt also, we need to have that maturity. Why did he, if he would have not asked, anyway this Bhagavad Gita would have not elongated. Because of his doubt, Krishna went down again further. like a proper teacher, when he's asking the student, what did you understand from the class? So based on what answer he is giving, the teacher understood, okay, now he is at this level, let me start from there. And that is how Krishna again began to speak about Karma Yoga. Now Karma Yoga is a very important thing. When we are asking these questions, like we have different conceptions and how about all these problems, how do we reconcile and what is the Vedic knowledge talking about? It is very interesting to know how our Bhagavad Gita or Krishna answers this. So Karma Yoga, which is given in the 3rd chapter, is something called prescribed duty yoga. What is it called?
Prescribed duty.
So I'll put finally this board I'll bring it here and I'll ask questions there for last 15 minutes based on what we just read. Okay? Postdoc, you have to justify your position of research that you've done, how much you're able to retain. So the 3rd chapter is called also as prescribed duty yoga. What is it called? Prescribed duty yoga. What is prescribed duty yoga? Let's first try to understand this. The biggest problem that we have is we all consider that we are all alone in this material world. I am living my life. The way I am supposed to live, I can live my life. Okay? I think I'm part of a microcosm where I'm independent, I'm entitled to do anything, and based on the action that I'm doing, I will get the fruits, the results. What the Vedic scriptures are telling, we are not alone. We are part of this huge arrangement. There is a cosmos which is there. So there is a macrocosm. Macrocosm. We are part of that macrocosm where there is a huge cosmos where there are seasons which are changing, there are laws which are acting on us, there are so many things which are happening. We are not independent. It's a very important thing. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, first time, 3rd chapter, introduced a concept called yajna. What is the understanding of yajna you have? Sacrifice. What does sacrifice mean to you?
Fire sacrifice.
Fire sacrifice, putting some ablutions, fire coming out. क्या आपका understanding है? यज्ञ क्या होता है?
यज्ञ
हाँ, यज्ञ.
कुछ नहीं पता.
यज्ञ के बारे में कभी सुना नहीं?
One is intelligence.
यज्ञ is intelligence, not ज्ञान. यज्ञ, यज्ञ, होमा. ये बोला कि फायर सैक्रिफाइस होता है.
Is it like those yajnas that we do?
That's what I am trying to find out. What do you know about yajna? I will tell what Krishna is telling in 3rd chapter. He introduces this, and it is there throughout in the pages of Bhagavad Gita. Very interesting concept. So, फायर के बारे में तो पता है ना, उतना तो मालूम. फायर करते हैं, हवन करते हैं, हवन में डालते हैं. That's all we know. Very interestingly, the concept of yajna which Krishna talks about, it's a very important concept which is interesting for us to know because we are not alone, right? This thing is a very strong understanding which we have to have. We are part of a big macrocosm and we are supposed to do our yajna, and yajna is translated by Krishna in 3rd chapter as prescribed duty. Very interesting this is. So he is telling that every one of us, we should do our prescribed duty. You cannot say that I will not do action. Because you have a role to play, not just for yourself, because you are part of this entire material creation. There is a huge creation which you are part of. You have some duties to perform. What is that prescribed duty? Where is it mentioned? It is mentioned in the Vedas. Okay, very good. So what do you mean by what happens when I do prescribed duty? It is there from 14th to 15th, 16th chapter. There is a cycle of yajna which Krishna talks about. Very interesting cycle. How there is balance and why there is that confusion which you had asked in the beginning, and we will answer that one by one. He says, how do we survive in this world? How can we live? What helps us to survive in this material world?
Interactions.
Huh?
Interactions.
Interactions. Karma? No. I mean, interactions and karma are meant at a very subtle level. Gross level, how do we live? What is necessary for us to survive?
Food.
Very good. Without food, there is no one who will survive. Right? 5 दिन आपको खाना नहीं दूंगा. 6 दिन हालत खराब, मैं गिरा. So Krishna says, Parjanyan Anna Sambhava. First thing that we have to remember, no nuts and bolts that we are producing in an industry will help us to survive. Right? We live, we eat food grains. Okay. So where is this food grains coming from? So the cycle we have to draw it properly. It's a very interesting cycle. You will get a lot of concepts here. So we live on food grains. Okay, living entities. They live on food grains. And where is this food grains coming from? Huh? From the crops or from the farms, right? And how does this food grain come from? Huh? Soil. What? Huh? What else?
They grow from this.
Soil. Okay, but only soil is not enough. Imagine so soil is there.
Water, sun.
Water, or rather more specifically the rain.
Right.
When the rain comes, because there are so many farmer suicides which happens in Maharashtra and India, so many things, because no rain and they are not able to produce. So for the food grains which is coming from the farms, it is dependent on the rains. Now here comes the interesting understanding which the Vedic knowledge is giving. Where does the rain come from? Where is it coming from? Baris kahan se aata hai?
Sky.
Sky, okay. How?
Water operates from sea or water and then comes back as the rain.
Okay, let's hear the postcard.
Yeah, that's true.
More elaborate answer. Water evaporates from the water bodies like ocean, river.
The cloud.
It forms, it becomes a cloud and then
Condenses
condenses
and rain.
and then it comes as rain. This is all we have read in our science books and everything, right? Everywhere we have read this. Here the Vedic scriptures are telling something which we have to see. We all agree that there is sun which is evaporating the water, it is becoming condensing and it is becoming cloud, and the cloud when it precipitates, the rain is coming. But it doesn't happen impersonal way. There has to be a controller. Like for example, when you see a traffic light, you see that the traffic light when it is red, everybody is stopping, it becomes green, everybody is moving. So you think the traffic light is controlling that, and that's how the traffic is moving. But there is a traffic police, or there is someone who has designed that, and based on his design, based on those controls that he has put, the traffic is flowing naturally, smoothly. So what the Vedic scriptures are telling, the rains are coming because of the controller of this rains, which are the demigods. These are all very powerful people. Never consider yourself to be alone in this material world. There are big controllers who are entrusted with this responsibility to give various things to us, to sanction us. And they do this sanction, they sanction it based on our prescribed duties. Where is the prescribed duties? Living entities. So they give rains, the demigods give rain based on the prescribed duties. When we are doing our prescribed duties, what is given in the Vedas, then automatically they become, so which is mentioned in the Vedas, they become pleased and they give us rain, and then this whole cycle is continuing in that way. When we don't perform our prescribed duties, when we become completely selfish, we think we are meant to enjoy whatever I am doing, I'm entitled to enjoy the fruits of my action, we are tampering with the laws of nature. It is like simple thing. You are earning money, okay, and you are giving tax to the government. When you give tax to the government is taking care of so many facilities. They take care of nice roads, they do so many things. Same holds true here. When we do yajna, when we do our prescribed duties, that pleases the demigods. And when the demigods are pleased, they sanction in the form of all the necessities of our life. Sunshine, rain, all these things are required because ultimately if you have to live here, you need food grains. This is called the cycle of yajna. So when somebody doesn't perform his prescribed duty, and the aberrations you can see everywhere, wherever there is no rain or there is a imbalance, then when people are not performing the prescribed duties, they are tampering with the laws of nature. They don't know what is their duty. They're indulging in animal slaughters and things like that. There is counter-reaction to that, and that counter-reaction is so much that when you don't pay tax, you try to evade. The government will go against you. They will be after you, and then they'll put you behind the bars. It's a very difficult thing. So if that is the case, if you have understood this much, then all these questions will be answered. When somebody is thinking about this patriarchal society, gender equality, it is all coming when somebody has become negligent to his prescribed duties. When they don't know this, when they are not aware of their prescribed duties, they do all this kind of things. Not just this, any kind of these things. Thinking that I can get away with this, I am free to do anything. And Krishna mentions in the 3rd chapter, 27th verse or something, where he is telling this Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. What is happening is, people think that I am the doer. I am entitled to enjoy my life because I am working hard. And it is happening because of false ego, where a person is thinking he is doing, but actually he is not doing. What he is not realizing, that his body and his mind and senses do not belong to him. Because of the false ego, he is thinking he is doing, but actually the mind and senses are belonging to the material nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. So because of the false ego, false identification, one is thinking a doer, but actually the material nature is the doer. I don't know if you remember, last class we were talking about the 3 kinds of doers. Do you remember? Sanctioning authority, there is a desiring authority. What is it? Who are the 3 doers?
One is sanctioning.
Anyway, in the 5th chapter it is there. He's blanking out, he's forgotten. Maybe if your notes, if you see, maybe you'll have an answer, but it's okay. So everybody who is thinking that I'm independent, and he's thinking, executing, and there is sanctioning, and there is the desiring. The soul which is desiring first, and then it is getting sanctioned by the super soul, and then there is an execution part. It is actually done by the Prakriti, but a person foolishly thinks that I am the doer, and that is where the problem is coming. 3.30, in my opinion, is actually the summary of what Karma Yoga is. Very powerful verse. We will take that one verse, and then I'll conclude with one simple graphic example, and then we will close and have question answer. So all of you must be ready. We will see how much of it you retain. 3.30. Who can read the translation? Will read. No. My my karmani. You know that verse? Okay, read. Go for that. Very nice. Very good. Read the translation. So the definition of karma yoga is given in that.
Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works onto me.
Surrendering all your works.
Can you give me the page number, please?
196.
Thank you.
Surrendering all your works unto me.
With mind intent on me.
Mind intent on me.
And without desire for gain.
Without desire for gain.
And free from egoism.
Free from egoism.
And lethargy.
And lethargy.
Fight.
It's a very important verse. It's actually for Arjuna, because he was a Kshatriya, it is fight. For us, we have to do our prescribed duties. But mind intent on me, working, what is the first one? Works unto me.
Surrendering all your works onto me.
Surrendering all your works unto me. And no attachment for gain, or no attachment for egoism, and no this thing for lethargy. Somebody may say that I don't want to do any action because this action is creating all these problems. I don't know. No, you can't have lethargy. You have to do your prescribed duties. And when somebody does prescribed duties in this fashion, then that cycle of yajna works, and all the desires are fulfilled. Everything happens properly. Then he says that, he gives the example of, there could be some very advanced people who are free from not doing this prescribed duties. Rest all should do. Even he goes on to the extent of giving 2 examples of Janak Maharaj and himself, who are free from doing this prescribed duties because they are very advanced. Yet they do it so that when the leaders perform this prescribed duties, others will follow. If the leader become useless, waste fellow, everybody else becomes useless. So it's very important to have the leaders follow this. There is a very nice story about Janak Maharaj, and I'll draw one line first. Maybe I'll not do that. Maybe I'll leave it. But let's see how much of you grasped whatever we spoke. We will see that. There's a very nice story about Janak Maharaj. Once Janak Maharaj was doing a sacrifice, okay, and pay attention again. Janak Maharaj was doing a sacrifice, and then there was one soldier of Janak Maharaj who came and told that your treasury is on fire. So Janak Maharaj said, okay, don't worry, don't get panic. Now I am serving these sadhus, they are here, I am doing this yajna, so it's okay, let it burn. So he continued the fire sacrifice. After some time the fire started spreading. So then again this man came running, saying that, you know, this sadhus where they are staying, not all the sadhus were present in the fire sacrifice. There were many other sadhus. The place where they were staying, that place also has caught fire. So all the sadhus who were sitting there, they immediately ran to protect whatever little belongings they had. The story is told to say that the real renunciant is someone who's maybe materially having so many these things, but in his heart is detached. If you think, what is the position of a sadhu? Right? A person who's a renunciant, who is doing sadhu, one, very little this thing. He was ready to forego of his, treasury getting burnt, but he was thinking this is more important because he's very detached. Whereas, the sadhus, the so-called sadhus, were not. They were running for their poetry things. So it is very important that the leaders should have real detachment within. Because Krishna says little, before this, he says mithyachar. I mean, he uses very harsh words. You may artificially try to renounce. Like, if you are a Kshatriya and you are not doing your duty and you go and beg and do some things, you may artificially renounce. But it is a matter of time when, that desires which are there, because the desires to do your activities based on your nature is already there. You will develop that desire. And if you don't do that, you are actually a pretender. Either you develop the real detachment, which will be there in your heart, that will manifest in the form of spiritual attachment. If you don't have that, if there is no spiritual attachment and you are trying to artificially renounce, then it is called pretension, mithyachar. Very clearly Krishna explains this. So then if you understand this, of course, the yajna this is yajna 1.0, then he goes to yajna 2.0 in 4th chapter, and he talks about how these prescribed duties are so important. Then this whole process becomes clearer. What is going on and why I am supposed to do, why I am not alone, how I am responsible, and what is, my action is entailed, what is it meant to do, and how I can do these actions at the same time not get implicated, that also we'll get to know. This is in nutshell about Karma Yoga, and this is in nutshell answers all the problems that we list down, like whatever this is, because people are negligent of their prescribed duties, which they don't know, which is mentioned in Vedas. That is why all these imbalances, all these problems, all these things come in our mind. Now I'll stop. If you have questions, this time I'll ask questions. Now let me not ask questions. Let's see what we will do is, we will ask someone, Gopal.